Hello and welcome back.
Hello.
Hi.
We are so excited to introduce the two most beautiful senior executive producers in the entire world. Hello, Jill Hamburgo and Shantique Dunkley.
Hey, y'all.
Do not be shy.
She immediately said, hi. That's not how you talk.
Let me not put on the front. Okay. Hey,
Right.
guys.
Exactly.
What's tea?
Yes, welcome to the podcast. We're happy to have you guys here.
Yes.
I'm happy to be here. I'm excited. I'm proud of you guys. I can't wait to hear the questions.
Same. I was just telling Shantique how it's different being on this side. We're used to being the interviewers here, guys.
I know.
Well, listen,
Exactly.
I don't know if you've seen our ad in the Village Voice. Village Voice is no longer okay.
I was going to say they came back.
We are hiring some producing crew over here. Okay, so if you want to come visit this side of the camera, you're more than welcome.
Yeah,
So how have y'all been? So for those who don't know, Jill and Shantique are not only great casting directors, but they are our personal friends. So we've seen them during the quarantine a few times, social distance, of course, but how are you guys been since last time we've seen you?
when was the last time we saw each other? Like last week?
Charles' birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, Charles' birthday. Woof.
Charles' birthday was interesting.
I feel like it's been, well, act like I haven't saw you guys recently, but I feel like since the quarantine, child, mama has been struggling being in the house, okay? I don't know. I feel like anybody who knows me knows I'm like a type A personality. And so like, I love to control things. And this quarantine has showed me that I have control over nothing. And so that has been the biggest.
You and I are just alike. We literally have the same personality. That's why I can't.
Be married.
That's why we should just get married. I mean, there's a couple of things we can work on in that, but let's just get married. I'm over it.
I'm with it.
Jill, how are you doing in this quarantine?
You're planning a wedding.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh my God. For those of you listening, Jill is about to get married this September, which I'm super excited about. Tell us about it, Jill. Tell us who the wonderful, lucky man is.
He's fine and job, and I'm just happy to have the opportunity to get married. And fingers crossed that I still will. New Jersey laws right now isn't looking like we could have a wedding without social distancing, masks, no open bar. Like, are you serious?
Oh man, my heart is breaking.
Girl, that wasn't on the invitation. No open.
I didn't say that. I thought it was open bar.
We're waiting because every day there's new news and there's new updates about what we can do and what's allowed. We just entered phase 4 yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things are changing. Your girl's taking it day by day. Woosah, like inhale and exhale.
Yes,
and trying to be positive. But right now, we are hoping that September 2020 happens. Check us out, the Royal Cowsers.
Okay.
And we're trying to make the best of the situation, whether we do Q masks or there's definitely a theme. It's royalty, so bring all the royalty chic that you can bring.
I have no doubt that you'll pull it off because you're a senior executive producer.
Right. I produce, I make things happen. But guess what? I talked with the place too, and they're like, listen, if you can't make it happen the way that you see, we're gonna try for May of next year. So I've been fortunate. There's a lot of people that I know who are in the same boat as I am, who are not as flexible with their venue to have an alternative date.
Mm-hmm.
So shout out to Pleasantdale Chateau for having an alternative date. And, I'm here and I'm balancing that and working from home recently. Like, it's been a dry spell for your girl because the quarantine has, got us a little parched on the job section.
Yeah.
Girl.
But we're out here rolling with the punches. I'm looking into being a COVID, what's it called?
Producer? A COVID producer?
Yeah, there's COVID producers.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
There is.
Yeah.
And now you're the person that everybody goes to with their tests and everything. I mean, yes, it's an essential work line, but at the same time, here are opportunities in the production industry to still book gigs, even though things are looking slim, guys. We gotta.
Well, what got you into the production industry? Both of you, actually. Like, did you just fall into it, or was it your plans to make it like big in the producing world in New York? Like, give me the 411.
Do you want to start, Joe?
No, go ahead, Shantique.
What got me? Honestly, so I'll give you a little bit of background. So like, I went to school, obviously, in Connecticut. Well, not obviously, people don't know that. I went to the University of Bridgeport and I studied mass communication. I had no idea, going into it, I had no idea like what I wanted to do. I thought I wanted to be a journalist, like a broadcast journalist. And I was like, and so after kind of landing my first internship, so I interned at Maury. While I was
Maury. So that's what got you to reality TV. Okay, cool.
It was cool. Like my guidance counselor was like, yeah, I have a good opportunity. I think you'd be great for it. You have a big personality. Maury's looking for interns. And so I ended up doing that and was like, okay, I know I want to be behind the camera and get into some conflict TV because I like to see a lot happen. But I felt like it just kind of fell in my lap because I had no idea what I wanted to do until somebody recommended an internship for me. And then like the rest was history. Like after I graduated and I went to and I got another internship at Eastern TV, and that's how like Jill and I met, right?
Okay.
Nice.
But when I met Jill as an intern, I wasn't an intern. I think I had like kind of graduated a little bit. But we met. Should we say what we met working at? I mean, I just said it, but should we say the show we started working at together?
Yeah, we worked on Love and Hip Hop at Eastern.
Okay.
Right. So
I'll say proud. It's on my resume.
Love and Hip Hop.
If anyone's looking, Jill just gave you her resume.
Okay.
Yeah.
Google me.
I know that's right.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of how I don't know. That's how I fell into it. And then casting was weird because I started as an intern in development. And then I was kind of pitching show ideas and I was like, oh, this is probably not for me. I feel like I have more of an eye for like talent and helping people go from A to Z. And then the VP of casting at the time, I guess she saw something in me and was like, hey, I feel like you have a great eye. And I just I feel like a lot of stuff that I fell into just was like, not by luck, but just kind of like by somebody kind of seeing a little bit of a sparkle somewhere and being like, you should try this. And it kind of just like went from there. I don't know.
That's amazing.
Yeah, okay.
I feel like that's how a lot of my stuff, like when I worked in production stuff, it was always like, oh, I know somebody.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, it was a whole lot of like, I know a driver. He needs work.
He needs work.
Exactly.
It's all about connections television.
I can attest to that because that's exactly how I got into this. You know, I was on my last year of college looking for an internship, you know, out here going to ABC, trying to get an internship with them. Didn't work out that well. But I ended up knowing someone who knew someone, basically.
Okay.
And,
That's how it always works, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I feel very blessed in that way that I found someone who was willing to take me under their wing and just kind of take me through it. I started as a extras casting assistant on a feature film for Tyler Perry for Color Girl.
Okay. Color Girls.
Touched by an Angel Girl. I saw Felicia Rashad, Janet Jackson, Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
Janet Jackson. Dead.
Michael Ealy. Okay, I was faking.
Oh, Michael Ealy.
Yeah.
And I was like, is this my life? But it was only my life for a week. I was an intern for a week on this set, and it was SAG. So then I got like all the snippy SAG representatives talking about it's golden hour, time and a half, and I'm like, whoa, like it's not that serious, but it is because these are the unions, and you got to know the rules in order to play the game, and so. The casting director enjoyed having me there. I was ambitious. I was on top of things. I wasn't taking pictures with everybody, which was important because if you fangirl on set, you got to get out. Like, that's not welcomed. And I would want to say that to anyone who does work on set. Don't think you're just going to go up in there and take pictures with everybody.
Oh, no, man.
Word.
And even in casting too, like.
I mean, I understand people have definitely tried that with me on set, and I was like, no photos, thank you. I totally get it. I mean, it's because we want to concentrate on our craft.
Yeah.
People have bum rush stuff. Like,
I cannot with you.
So just giving them a thing. I mean, Jill, something that you just said is really important. I have a question about that. So you have been doing, you started with Tyler Perry, which you know how I feel about that movie. We'll have to talk about that another time, because I can. We can talk about that along with Fatal Affair later. How about that?
Oh my God.
I know. But in terms of reality TV and scripted casting, what would you say is the most common thought process when looking for the right person? Because those are two separate, right? You have people that are being themselves, but portraying a type of character. And then you have people fully abandoning who they are and being someone completely different. So what would you feel is the difference between those? And what do you look for?
Like, especially between scripted and reality, you know, in reality, you know, 100% it has to be your story. But in scripted, you have to play as if this is your story. However, you also have to look at the specs. You know, sometimes they're looking for African-American males to portray 20 to 20-something-year-olds. And honey, your boat has sailed. You cannot apply for that anymore because...
I still can. I got you. Yeah.
I'm talking about you. I'm not talking about
Oh, right.
After a lot of work.
Well,
hey, I can get a little nip and tuck. Braden gonna give me his doctor's number.
Okay.
And
Look, pass her too.
Right.
Hey, I still feel like, you know, there's little to no flexibility on the specs of a character. They have to be this portrayal of, you know, who the director or the writer thinks they are in order to play this role. Look at the specs. And I know a lot of people say, like, I'm going to apply regardless if it doesn't apply to me. Honey, you're not going to get picked. They're looking for this type of person, and that's not you, then you're most likely not going to get called. But if it seems like you can portray it or have headshots that portray that, sometimes I think the thing that books jobs is like, okay, we're looking for someone to portray a doctor, and they have doctor headshots. Duh. No brainer. I'm gonna sell the director on you in an instant because they already see you as a doctor. So I say take lots of headshots. Even if you're like a school teacher headshot, your childhood headshot, your you know, felon headshot.
Okay.
I got 2 mugshots.
It's free.
Okay.
They're free. You don't have to pay anything.
Right. They're free.
Always casting, honey. You might get that featured extra that you always wanted, honey.
I think Jill is referring to when she said the felon headshot. That might be the scripted side, but on the reality side, I'm not looking for anybody with a mugshot. I'm not a story, but please don't think that's going to catch my attention if I see your mugshot. I mean, depending on what you said, it might.
Well, that leads me to my question. And y'all have been doing this for a while. Can you tell the listeners like an instance where you had like a negative experience, like while casting someone, or you don't have to name names, but if you can, that'd be great.
Right, we're on the team.
But yeah, I just want to know, like, what was one instance that you had?
I don't know. Like, I would say, I won't name names, obviously, but I'll make it very general. I think in casting, it's very easy for talent, especially in reality, to get attached. So, like, some of the negative things that I've had to deal with, it's just, like, the boundaries part of, like, people calling me at 2 a.m, people texting me at certain times.
Oh, no.
I would say, like, though, when it comes to, like, the boundaries, I would say those are the bad things, but I'm grateful to say, like, I don't think I've had any bad experiences outside of that. Like, I don't think that, especially when it comes to like my talent, like, but I feel like the only thing it's kind of been is just like boundaries. Like, I've had people, like I said, text me, call me all times of night. I've had people like kind of stalk. I mean, Jill and I used to work at the office where we had a guy send us like, what was the guy who like sent us flowers because he wanted to get on?
Yes, he sent us flowers and a poster board of
and chocolate.
No.
Oh, no.
I'm so sorry about that, guys. I only meant to do that once. Again, my apologies.
Darrell had jokes
that.
today.
I think also it's kind of difficult to, I always like to give a variety of options. Like, sure, the project calls for this type of person, but, I always like to run the gamut, make sure that I'm filling every single box, because who knows, maybe it's not what they pictured, but it is the message that they want to send. So sometimes I run into issues because of that. Like, hey, we're looking for this type, but creatively, you're always dealing with that, regardless if you're in the director or the casting or even the actor's chair. Creatively, these decisions are supposed to be made together and about the project to stay true to them. So I would say, besides the stalkers that we get in the casting world, there's also a sense of working, with the executives on what their ideas are and how to fine tune that to make sure that what I'm finding is what they want.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that
last thing too, I feel like, Joe, you can attest to this, like the hardest part about casting too is that you have to turn down a lot of people and that you might really actually believe in, that you might actually want to see get further. That can be,
yeah.
I feel like sometimes like I get it, like, and not this, I mean, I sometimes get attached to my talent where it's like you want to help everybody and you want to see them use some of the platforms that we have access to, especially to grow and to change their circumstances. And I feel like a negative side of casting too, for me, is the fact that it's like you can't, even though you might love a person and you might be attached to their story, where they come from and seeing them grow, like you don't necessarily always have the opportunity, or you don't necessarily have, like, you can't really make the decisions whether they go to the next level. So I feel like that's a part of it too. It's like kind of sometimes when you work in casting, like shattering dreams and realizing as much as you might want to see this person move forward, you don't necessarily have the power to be like, you're gonna, you know what I mean? So that's me too, like, because it's like, as long as I've been doing it, I still kind of get that attachment to my talent where I'm like, fuck, like this person has come from a great background, they would kill it on this platform, these people need a black background, but you can't really always give people that because it's not up to you.
So Shantique, you say that you have like your talent. So do you essentially like have a pool of talent that you can pick and choose from? And if so, how does a casting director go about getting a pool of talent that you choose from? Are they different? Are they same every time?
Well, my pool comes from like all the different shows that like I've worked on. So like I've worked on obviously like the Love and Hip Hops, the Black Inks, the Housewives, Potomac, resume dropping, okay?
Okay, no, please.
Let them know.
Please. I want to know everything.
I want to know.
We need to become part of this pool.
Yes.
Yeah, I've worked on, an Oprah Winfrey show. I've worked on HGTV shows. I've worked on like my resume. Your girl's resume is stacked. Okay?
Yes, I love it.
I love
Black excellence.
I'll be moving in next week.
Right.
Listen, Adam, I told you that we could, you can have a little corner of my apartment, or you gotta
Okay, great. My own little corner.
All you gotta do is cook, and that's it.
Okay.
That's it. You ain't got to do. Because the road don't want to.
I want a plate.
I can't come, Shantique.
No, your mouth is too slick, friend.
We will honestly be throwing each other out the window. For those of you listening, Shantique and I have, we're married, so we have a little relationship problem. So we're working on it though.
Right, we're working on it. No, but like, my pool of like talent that I work with comes from like just people that I've met over the years, people that I've casted. And it all differs based off of like obviously the projects, because Jill and I have been in the industry for a while. We jump from project to project, so we're very diverse in that area. So it's like, listen, it comes from the people that I've cast in the past, but it also depends on, like I said, what I'm looking for at the time.
A lot of times we have to start from scratch if we don't have access to those pools. A lot of times we are interested in different like walks of life, and we have to go down those roads, whether it's Facebook groups, whether it's DMs on Instagram, whether it's all of the above, like finding someone who knows someone. And at the end of the day, we hope to keep these relationships so that, like Shantique says, further along the line, when we do have a project that will be good for them, we'll be able to give them that opportunity or share that information so that their contacts could have that information as well. So yeah, it's what it is. This message is about knowing someone who knows someone, and we met someone, all right, most of the time.
Yeah, and never closing a door on talent. Like, even if talent doesn't work for one project, you might not work for, a Black Ink, but maybe you work for a house, even though that's never the case. But it's just saying, like,
right.
So, like,
you never know.
Even if like a talent or someone that I connect with doesn't work for one project, it's like I always tell them, like, listen, this is not the end. Let's keep in contact, because down the line I might cast something. And I still have people that I tried to cast from shows like 2-3 years ago that hit me up like, hey girl, what are you working on? Like, do you have something for me? So it's a revolving like relationship that I feel like even if it doesn't work for one project, like it's the connection, obviously.
I definitely agree, and I give an advice to everyone who has built at least that opportunity to walk into a casting director's door, is that person may not reach back out to you, but they're thinking of you. If you made a good impression, your name is being spoken in rooms that you've never entered before. And, that's also part of leaving a good impression. You want to be professional. You don't want to smother the casting person, and you want to keep a good repertoire. Hey, Shantique, how you doing? I don't know what you're working on, but this is what I'm doing. Here's a web series that I was part of. Here's a new business that I just started. Maybe you're interested, maybe not. But if you never say anything, you're never gonna know.
That's a very good point.
Girl,
and
closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, that's so true. So we're gonna give our sponsor an opportunity to open their mouth so it can get fed. How about that?
Okay, we'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We still here with Jill and Shantique.
Hey girls.
Hey girls.
Yes, y'all.
I love it.
So before we went to break, you were dishing out some hot goss, some free advice. As someone who loves free advice.
Or anything free.
Anything. We love free.
My middle name is Free.
Darrell Free Anthony.
How do you, as a talented podcast host, how does one become like part of your pools, and like what do I need to do to like get in? You know what I'm saying?
Like, cast me.
Well, or, like, more general, like how would one go about, like, I guess, my question is
do you answer DMs?
Well, no. DMs or like, so is it just like people you like find interesting and then you're like, I want to continue talking with you, like here's my number, here's this, or do people like DM you or
suggestions, like
do they like,
are people sent to you?
Right.
You want to go, Joe? Or
go ahead, take it away, Shantique.
I mean, how do people get to me? Listen, I do answer DMs. So I have a casting page. It's on Instagram at shantique.casting. So if you want to see what I'm up to, if you want to see what I'm casting, if you want to get in contact with me, my email is linked. I do answer DMs depending on how you come at me, because some people get a little reckless in the DMs.
That's
I hear that.
And that's the thing, is I think it's all about the approach. Like, I feel like you'll get a response depending on the approach. I mean, but I would say how people get in contact with me or how you reach out to me is by follow me on Instagram. And then also, like, just because, like, and I always feel like people warrant a conversation, because I think you just never know, like, what networks are looking for, and you just never know, like, what a person has behind Instagram. So I do kind of, when people do reach out to me and it seems interesting, they have a good backstory, or they give me a little bit, a little bit of information, I do kind of follow up with those conversations.
Okay.
But I will say the best way to get in contact and to get into the pool is to just, put yourself out there and realize that, sometimes people will respond and sometimes they won't, but like, never take no for an answer, because if you, go ahead, Joe, I feel like you had like a moment.
You're saying all the right things, and I want to piggyback off what she's saying. But if you don't have nothing, don't hit me up, okay? All right.
Wait.
I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Listen, everybody's always like, I need a reality show. I need a reality show. Really? What have you done? Let me.
Wow.
How many engagements you have on your Instagram and social media?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sorry. It's like the people who like wait to be happy. Like, no, happiness has to be within you. Stardom has to be within you. Whether you're a star on your own platform or you're a star on a bigger platform, you always a star, baby. And if you don't got it, you don't got it.
Oh,
Jill humbled y'all real quick. I was trying to give y'all the inspirational thing.
I was like, let me in, sis. I'm about to
You're like, tag in.
Tap in.
And it's true though, because honestly, like I look for the people who have made opportunities for themselves. Pride has made an opportunity for themselves. Y'all have made it a lane for yourselves. Making a series, touching so many people in a niche market, like these opportunities weren't given to you. You made it for yourselves, didn't you guys? And I know people accomplish much more upon that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that you guys were in Pride, the Pride Parade in LA as representatives and hosts and stuff, that's a big deal. Not everybody gets asked to do that. But
thank you so much, Jill. Thank you, friend.
Amongst all the other accomplishments that you guys have done, I want to say that if anyone's listening that's interested in doing their own thing, take a page out of Pride the series book, because they are doing it and doing it well.
Make an opportunity.
We're gonna use that for our promo.
Doing it well.
Adam, make a note.
It's gonna be a soundbite.
What
I wanted to say too is that I feel like, to piggyback a little what Joe said earlier, is that I feel like sometimes people come to us and they want to be on TV because they feel like, I have 100,000 followers. And I just kind of want to be clear with people too. Like, just because you have a big following does not mean that you belong on television.
I agree with that.
I think that people have to also understand that. And just because somebody might tell you, oh, you need your own TV show, doesn't mean that it works that way. Selling TV shows are very hard nowadays. They need to be out of this world and just dynamic and just something that we've never heard of before. Shameless plug, if you have a unique business, hit me up. But that's the thing, like you kind of have to be unique, I feel like, when it comes to like wanting your own TV show. And I think that's the biggest misconception, is that people think because they have a following or, they have a big personality that they belong on television, or that they should have their own show. And it's like, it's a little bit challenging.
It's 100% with like RuPaul's Drag Race that I watch. A lot of these queens who think they have like big followings, big numbers, they're big in their city, think they'll go on and do well, and then it always seems to be the opposite. It's always a crash and burn. They're always boogered, or
like that one Canadian queen.
They don't understand.
Have you not watched Drag Race Canada?
No, we
one Canadian queen who went on there.
Oh, the one who just went home.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
I would say this.
Neither.
Instagram followers does not equate to television viewers.
Most of them can be bought.
Hello, yes, you can buy.
Most of them can be bought, absolutely.
That's the biggest thing. People are like, well, I have a huge following, and it's like, that's great, but like, will people tune in to watch you on TV?
Right.
Are you when I say engagements, and this is where I'm like, please have a YouTube channel, because people are actually watching, people are actually subscribing, It's definitely a numbers game, but at the same time, it's also what you're offering, your content, how many layers you have to your story. Is it just you and your family? It's
your personality,
your family, your business, your relationship. You have a lot of layers. A lot of people think like, oh, maybe I should do this. If you think it, then maybe try to do the steps to at least do a YouTube channel and see where that goes. Because for you to pitch yourself to someone like Shantique or myself, I want to see that already done. I want to see that you've already had experience, and that I don't have to like handhold you down every step of the way and like tell you that you're doing great when you yourself, you know that you have the viewership, you have the experience. So, you know,
and if you're popping, Jill and I will find you. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's right.
Producers we are the biggest FBI. Like I know how to find some shit as a casting producer. I go down rabbit holes all the time. And it's
Right.
like, if you are doing something that should be recognized, and if you're kind of, you know, if you have a unique story, 9 times out of 10, I will find you, or I know somebody that knows of, you know what I mean? It's like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, something, Jill, you said a little bit earlier, you were like, you know, if roles are for you in terms of scripted, then they're for you. Zendaya had a quote, her and Viola Davis kind of talked about this, and they were like, we told our agents to send us in for every role that was a Caucasian female role. And I didn't understand that at first. I was like, oh, that could be dangerous. And the original role in Euphoria was supposed to be for a white girl, and she was like, send me in for it. She said, let me change their minds. And it's very interesting to hear that from you as well, and like think about how there are people out there trailblazing, trying to make people change their mind. How would you say with all of that you're starting to see and hearing about, has the casting process changed over the years?
I don't know about scripted, so I can't speak to that. So I'll pass it to Jill.
I definitely think that there are less barriers to that. Like a lot of times, like I said, I would get these breakdowns of characters and send in whatever I felt like I wanted to send in. You know, as a casting person, you hired me to be your eye. And if I saw talent in whatever form, I'm going to send it to you. And I've been able to change a couple minds, you know, during the years. You know, there's no such thing as small roles. So these roles were taken by the people that they weren't expected to take. And I think throughout the years, a lot of people have let go of these, like, you know, it has to be a Caucasian female, or it has to be an African-American woman. You know, we are looking at a new day and age where we're all trying to kind of diversify everything, and diversity will 100% of the time be what saves a casting. Be like, we're looking for diversity. Yes.
Yeah.
Literally pitch whoever I want, you know, whereas we're looking for, you know, Alice in Wonderland, and Alice has to always be this type of person, this type of little girl, where instead I want Alice to be, you know, multi-ethnic, you know, a Black girl magic combo, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that things are changing. I think we're making that change. People are asking for it. I love how much Twitter is involved in casting stuff nowadays. There's always a new day where they're like, oh, so-and-so should play Catwoman. So-and-so should play Miss Frizzle. What? They said Tracy Ellis Ross.
Right.
That would be amazing.
Yes.
I think they went a different direction. But again, it's like the voice of the people will always be heard. My thing is like, if you don't see yourself out there in these roles, make a character for you. Look at Issa Rae. Like, she's her own character and is now balling. Okay,
balling.
I love, and shout out to Issa, because we had insecure parties.
Okay.
Yes, insecure parties.
Listen to this. I'm looking for a job. Okay, what's up?
I
love it.
I could make the switch from reality to, you know, I'd be willing to start as a PA for Issa. Okay.
Hello, okay, just give me a job.
For real, y'all need a PA driver? Let me know.
Even if it's a passion project, and that's another thing. A lot of people think that all these roles have to be paid. Sometimes you just need the experience. Girl, stop thinking about things being needed to be like, oh, that's not what I want to get paid. I'm sorry, that's not what we're paying, but we will give this opportunity, which somebody will monetize afterwards, you know, to someone else. Like, you have to think of this experience to build your worth, not your value. Like, you know, like, it's not going to make you richer, but it's going to make you worthier.
Wise word.
To piggyback off of that, like, listen, no job is too small. When I started out in the industry, I can't even tell you how much I was making, because I don't think I was making anything, but I just was happy just to even be involved and to be around. And I feel like sometimes people want to start a certain place because I don't know, like I think when you're trying to get into an industry, especially television, you got to kind of humble yourself and you got to be willing to start small and realize that it's just an opportunity for you to get your foot in the door. And like I said, when I started, I was like living at home, and my mother, who comes from a corporate world, she could not understand why I was working at this company and not really getting paid. You know, she just was like, what are you doing? Like, you know. And for me, I mean, she was very supportive, but she didn't understand the industry, because at the end of the day, like, she doesn't understand, like a lot of people don't understand freelance. They don't understand the opportunity.
Right.
It's like I had a goal in mind. I was like, you know, they might be paying me $7, and I could only afford a Metro card. But at the end of the day, this was a great opportunity. And it ended up being an opportunity that, you know, when I say I worked there, when I say I worked on a certain type of show, like they're like, oh, you worked there. So sometimes I think people have to realize that it's not always about, like, you know, it's about where you start, you know what I mean? And getting your foot in the door. And, you know, not all the jobs you're not going to be able to get paid a lot of money, but you have to work towards that.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going back to talking about diversity, with everything that's going on with like Black Lives Matter and the revolution, what kind of changes and moving forward do you want to see in like the casting world?
That's a great question. I mean, there's a lot of changes that I would like to see in the casting world, just in television in general. I think we need more decision makers that are diverse. I think that, you know, television, and it doesn't matter where you are, where it's like, I think a lot of companies will say we're diverse, but if the people that call the shots and people that say, you know, that say yes or no is not diverse, I don't think that it matters. So I feel like in television in general, I would like to see a lot more diversity in the sense of like people that make the decisions. And I want to see more of, I would like to see more of diverse people getting the opportunity that doesn't always revolve around perpetuating the stereotype, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And I think that, you know, that's something that I'm growing with as well, because obviously when I first started, I had to do a lot of shows that were, you know, very popular, but people have, you know, opinions about them. And, you know, I think that now that I'm in a space where I'm very like stable and I can say, yes, I want to do this. No, I don't want to do that. I feel like that's a big thing as well. It's like, you know, making sure that our Black and brown people are being represented properly, especially moving forward, because it's time for a change. And I feel like, you know, as a casting producer and someone who is a part of some of these projects, I feel like, you know, it's my responsibility as well to make sure that I'm showing my people, Black and brown, whatever, in a different light. So I feel like those are two changes that I definitely want to see happen. And I'm hopeful that they're going to start happening, because I feel like people are listening now more than ever. And, you know, it's time for us to kind of stand up and say what we want and the change and talk about the changes that we want to see. So.
Amen.
Thank you so much for that.
Before we get on to hot topics, because we want to hear your thoughts on some things, I want to ask you, if you could cast anyone in any role, who would it be? Just the first person that comes to your mind.
For reality?
Anything. Baby.
That's a hard question.
Anthony.
So stupid. Ashley Mitchell in everything.
In case you needed to know. And I don't know why you didn't come up with the answer question.
Hello.
If I were to ever come across, you know, a role of a woman singing her ass off, I would definitely, you know, include Ashley, because Ashley.
Yes.
For what? Oh no, I'll support you.
She said anything.
Okay.
I mean, go ahead, Joe.
I'm waiting to be invited to cast Pride the movie. Like, okay.
Well, you know, actually, since we're going to be moving into this season 3, that would be an option. I would love to have you guys come in and cast and do it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Instead of, why would I go out to a company to cast when I have a company of well-informed casting directors, FBI agents, as you call yourself, right in front of my face?
Listen, I would love to help you, friend.
Talk to me nice, Darrell. Talk to me
I love it.
Okay, let's chat about some
I'll give you the family discount. I'll give you the family discount.
Thanks, niece.
Okay.
Thanks, niece.
You know, niece don't come cheap.
Movies don't come cheap.
Okay, hot topic. We want to talk hot topics.
Yeah, let's talk about hot topics.
What's going on? Kanye West.
Let's talk about it. Okay, can someone give me just a top line scenario of what has gone on in the past 24 hours? Because I thought I was up to date, and I'm not up to date, apparently.
Kanye lost his fucking mind. That's
What happened?
Look, that Dave Chappelle went to go see that he was okay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Apparently he's okay, but I honestly think it's because his album is dropping.
I do too. I mean, we already know other people, August Alsina, who's done that for entanglements for albums to drop. But I think it's interesting. You know, I am worried about Kanye. I think that, I mean, we don't know where he is or who he's with. We also know Tamar the other day had kind of an outburst similar.
Oh, Tamar.
You know, prayers out to her and her family. If for those of you who don't know, Tamar did try to take her life, allegedly reported. And she was rushed to the hospital. So my producer did let me know that was allegedly reported. So, you know, we are keeping her and her family in our prayers. But with Kanye, I think people got worried as well. They kind of started thinking about the same thing. But
like just now they're worried?
Well, I think it started like here recently where people started to like see like, oh, this isn't like a well man.
No.
Like, this is now sad. And it's like you have to watch because it's a train wreck, but it's also like someone do something.
I don't know. I'm at a point where, and I'm very sentimental to his mental state because that's a lot. But it does feel like Kanye is very dangerous. In the sense of like the messages that he's spewing, what he's saying, like I feel like we're fighting a big war right now, trying to get this guy, you know, 45 out of the office, and I think that we don't need people like Kanye to distract us. And I feel like Kanye constantly distracts us. His messages are very dangerous, and I feel like I said, I'm very sympathetic to the fact that he has mental health issues, and I don't want to skip over that because I feel like that's very important. But I also feel like I'm tired of giving Kanye excuses.
Right.
That.
And I also feel like I think that, you know, the things that he's saying is just, you know, it's setting us so far back in a place where we're trying so hard to get out of, and I feel like Kanye's only helping. You know what I mean? I just don't like. It's kind of one of those things where it's like that's your cousin and you can't really stand him, but like you love him, but then it's like you don't really fuck with him, but it's a thing. But I'm you know.
One thing you just said, Shantique, I like that you said it's taking us back. This week we also lost John Lewis, who walked directly right by with Martin Luther King and really fought for us back in the day. I think it's interesting that Kanye is having this behavior this week with that going on and not taking notice of that. And I think it's because he's not aware of his surroundings anymore. I mean, he even attacked, you know, his wife and, you know, his children's grandmother and his children in his rant on Twitter last night. And, you know, I think it's a little bad. I do understand people saying that they blame the Kardashians for him in the sense of they're his family. Before that. Well, that's what I'm going to say. You can only blame his family, immediate family, for not helping him get the help that he needs once he became a part of that family. But at least let's not forget, Kanye has been like this for a very long time. We didn't necessarily have Twitter to see it. So I think that we need to take that under advisement and not blame his family for everything because that's just not fair. And it's also, as Braden was saying, it's not accurate.
Right. Remember when he said that George Bush doesn't care about Black people?
Right. But I think we gave a pass, though, because that's how we felt. We gave him a pass then, but that wasn't okay.
Right. And again, it's like you have these, you know, celebrity figures who have power over the youth. And as Shantique was saying, there's a lot of things that can be misconstrued that, you know, young people, especially 18-year-olds who are going to go to vote for the first time, can get into their heads. Like, please, if anyone's listening, do not vote for Kanye. Please don't write him in.
Please.
And it's just kind of like, you know, what Shantique was saying, just to piggyback off that, is like, you know, there's a lot of noise that can be, you know, made to distract us from the truth. And who knows who's really paying him in the back end to say what he's doing. And honestly, like, what we need to focus on is the real. We're in a pandemic. John Lewis passed away, who was someone who sacrificed himself many a time for us to have the rights that we have today. And as far as I know, Kanye hasn't done that. You know,
right.
He's
No,
spent
you know
a lot
right.
of
You know right.
But
he hasn't done anything for us.
He hasn't done it.
Not a thing.
And also shout out to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Hope you get better because we don't need to give Trump another opportunity to fill a Supreme Court seat. Jesus Christ.
Do you think if she gets better, she's gonna like keep working?
She knows. Yeah, 100%. She like goes to the gym at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Then like goes off to her job and then comes back and is a wife. And then is just a superwoman. So she knows that she's got a lot on her shoulders. The whole fucking country. Oops.
Prayers to her. I will say this. Kanye needs to keep Harriet Tubman's name out his mouth.
I saw that.
And that's all I'll say about that.
I feel that because that was embarrassing.
It was, and I don't know if you guys saw the video where the girl, when he was like, Harriet Tubman didn't free the slaves, and the girl was like, "We leaving, we out of here.
We leaving
right now."
He's like, right now. I feel like
Shantique and Jill, thank you so much for joining us. And
I know.
Talking
I
about
want it to end. I want to talk about more hot goss.
Before we go, quickly, give us some plugs of where our listeners can find you, if they're, aka me, if I'm looking for a casting opportunity.
You can find me at Jill Does Casting on Twitter and Instagram. Jill Does Casting at Gmail. Please hit me up, but don't stalk me.
You can Jill, give the people some hope, girl. Damn.
Or don't come at all, okay?
Well, I'm sad that we're done, but people can find me on Instagram at Shantique.casting. All my information is plugged in. You can hit the producer, you can hit the email, go straight to my my company email, Facebook, DM, Twitter, DM. I don't have Twitter yet, but I feel like that's the place I need to be.
Get it so I can get in your Twitter DMs.
So Jill sends me a whole bunch of stuff from Twitter, and I'm like, what? I don't have. You know what? Like I had to delete my Twitter from college because, child.
They're probably looking at a lot like mine.
No, you nasty.
No, Adam's is nasty.
No. Winebox Poppy, right? That's you.
Box wine.
Box Poppy. I don't think
that's the
No, I do. But we do want you guys to come back.
Yes.
We would love that, and that way we can do a whole day of hot topics.
Yes.
My favorite, because I love
Come back. You better hire me for this movie about pride.
Well, that too.
We're
working on it.
Can I just say I'm so proud of you guys. I am, loving and enjoying listening to the podcast. Obviously, we're all good friends, but I think listening to it, I get to learn a lot more about you guys. And I always tell you guys, I'm like, I want y'all to talk about this on the podcast. And when am I going to hear about this? And Brandon, when's the book coming out? And
girl,
she literally asks every time, "What is the book?"
So I'm really enjoying this experience, and obviously I'm proud.
Yes, and shout out to this guest list this season on this podcast.
Thank you
guys.
Especially this one.
This is the extra VIP.
Look, thank you for including us.
Shantique and I are the cherries on top.
That's right.
I love that.
That's right. Forever and always.
I'm proud of you guys. I'm so proud.
Thank you guys
so much. We love you guys.
Come back soon.